Your brother, your friend, your dietitian back again for another installment in spirit, nutrition, 4 books to start your money library. Let's get it popping. 4 books to start your money library. Personal finance library. Think and Grow Rich library. So a lot of my friends, family, co-workers, young millennials, maverick millennials who I like to talk to, who I like to share with, always ask me about personal finance. Hey, what about saving? What about finances? What about money? And I share the little wisdom, the little nuggets, the little jewels that I've gained and gathered and picked up in my short time of study. So I first want to say that all the books, all the seminars, all the classes have already been done, written, made. Enough for you to become as wealthy, as healthy, as intelligent, and as successful as you want to be. All the information is out there. Will Smith was quoted in saying that anytime I want to learn how to do something, there's somebody who's done it already and wrote a book on it. So that's why I always read. That's a wise statement by Will Smith, and it's a true statement, because if you want to know something, you go to somebody with expertise, and a lot of times they write books. So I want to review 4 books today. Just in brief, I have other videos on some of these books that I'm going over. You can look into the archives or just search In Spirit Nutrition plus these book names. And I want to also say that don't let your learning lead to knowledge, because you'll become a fool. Let your learning lead to action. You could become wealthy. There's a lot of difference between what you know and what you do already. So your life will change with just 10% of the information in these books applied versus just reading the books and then not applying anything. It doesn't matter if you're conscious or you're woke, but you're stuck in a low-wage, low-paying job. It doesn't matter if you graduated summa cum laude, magna cum laude, if you're stuck in a low-wage paying job. If you're stuck, that's the key. So the first book I actually don't have here. It's in one of my other libraries. But the first book is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki is a great book because it juxtaposes or compares 2 philosophies about money and 2 mindsets about how to live life in regards to money. In that book, he reviews how his rich dad taught him, which was his childhood friend's father taught him about money, and also his poor dad, which was his biological father. And it reviews the 2 philosophies and how they compared and contrasted. Poor dad was highly educated, and he believed that if you got a good job and just saved your money, you could become wealthy and stable and rich. Rich dad actually believed that no, you have to invest your money. There's nothing wrong with money. You shouldn't feel guilty about having it. You can help more people with it, and you should buy apartment buildings, assets. Speaking of assets, in the book he talks about the difference between an asset and a liability, net worth, and your debts. So a lot of young millennials, a lot of older people too, never sit down and do self-education, never sit down and get the knowledge on how to master money, how to master the money game, right? That's actually a pretty good book too. Tony Robbins, I think it's called Master the Money Game or something like that. But more Money Master the Game. That's a pretty good book. But that's like not even on the list. Anyway, sit down and study this book with Robert Kiyosaki. Get the audio book, listen to it over and over, read it again, and then change your habits based on the book, and you could become wealthy. The next book is George Clason, The Richest Man in Babylon. It's a really short book. I think it's less than 200 pages. Yeah, it's less than 200 pages. It's an old school book, actually. I like a lot of books from back in the day. There's less fluff. There's less additional nonsense. They just give it to you straight. So that's why I like old books. But this book basically talks about how in ancient Babylon there was a scroll, or there was basically not a pamphlet, but it was like a scroll that contained wisdom on how to become rich, how to become wealthy, and how to save and invest your money. What percentages should you keep? 25%? Should you keep 10%? How much of it should you save? When you invest it, who do you invest it with? And it's timeless principles. And it talks about how Ralph Smart always says, if I could get, what does he say? Give me the money. Oh, he said, if I had the choice between wisdom and money, I would take the wisdom, because with the wisdom you can get the money, but with the money I can't get the wisdom. So it talks about money versus wisdom in the book, and how if you have the wisdom on how to invest your money, live beneath your means, only living on 80% of your money and investing the rest, you could make money over time. Also, it talks about dividends and things like that, but it tells it in the story form, or in a parable form. Human beings learn best in parables and in stories. More of the brain is activated. People feel happier. They're enthused, and positive emotions are evoked with stories and parables. So that's why Jesus told stories. That's why in Iceland they had ancient stories. The Mahabharata, in India is full of stories. So stories are the best ways to spread knowledge. Okay, so this one's a really good book. All these books are cheap. You can get them on Amazon too, for like little to nothing. The birds just love us, man. They're always singing in the morning. This book is a heavy hitter. It's called The Wealthy Barber: Everyone's Common Sense Guide to Becoming Financially Independent. So there's an updated version of this book, but I've only read the older version, and I do recommend checking out the newer version. I don't have knowledge necessarily of the newer version, the updated version, but I just purchased this one. And what he does in this book is really cool, because he keeps it simple. It's a financial / self-help book, a money book, and it talks about how to invest your money, how to save your money. It's in the more traditional sense, but I still like it because the way he tells it is, it's a young guy. He's just got married. His wife is pregnant. He's about 22 years old. He's a teacher, and he goes to the barber. And there's this barber who's just kind of inconspicuous, unassuming, just calm, chill barber. But the secret about the barber is that he's massively wealthy. Some people in the city and in the town know, but a lot of the young guys don't know that they're getting their hair cut by a millionaire. And he talks to the young man goes to his dad and tells his dad, "Hey dad, we never talk about money. I want to get some more knowledge about money. I want to purchase a house for myself and my wife and my new baby on the way. Let's talk money." He says, "Go talk to the wealthy barber." And he's like, "Who the heck is a wealthy barber?" And then he tells him, "The guy who's been cutting your hair for the last 15 years. He's wealthy. Dude is a millionaire. Talk to him." And through a series of conversations, again, it's told in the form of stories, you actually get knowledge on IRAs, which is IRA, individual retirement account, knowledge on will and trust, knowledge on investing in mutual funds, knowledge on saving money in different types of savings accounts, knowledge on life insurance, knowledge on a little bit of the stock market, knowledge on investing in real estate. But it's all told to you in very simple terms, and it explains how if you set up a strong personal financial plan, you'll be set and you could reach financial independence or at least a comfortable retirement. So it's a good book. Check it out. Another book you can get super cheap. This book last book I've done like a 30-minute video on, because this is one of my favorite books, and it's like one of the most life-changing books for me. It was groundbreaking in all the information that it presented. So this book is called Black Folks Guide to Making Big Money in America. So it's by George Trower Subira. It's gonna be a little more expensive. It's out of print. It's a little more rare. I would say go to I'm gonna drop a jewel on y'all. I go to biblio.com, biblio.com. When you're looking for like more rare, hard to find books, sometimes on Amazon people get crazy and they want to upcharge you like crazy amounts, when really it shouldn't cost you that much. You can go to Biblio and see what you can find. But this book is cold-blooded. I recommend this book to anyone, not just Moors, not just African Americans, not just black people. It has a lot of good information. Nowadays, a lot of people are struggling in powerlessness and poverty, whether they're black or not. This book was written in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, but a lot of the information still applies. He talks about the importance of multiple streams of income, getting a side hustle, talks about the different things that are keeping people in poverty, their behaviors, the philosophy, the mindset. Talks about savings, talks about how to calculate your net worth, talks about investing in real estate, how to start a business, talks about a lot of things about like the fortune builders philosophy, the wealthy mindset, thinking big, staying healthy, working hard. Groundbreaking book. You got to get this book. There's a bonus book, Think and Grow Rich. That's just a classic, but I recommend that towards the end of your studies, like once you first start cracking open books and start learning more about personal finance and things like that. I would say then go get and check out Think and Grow Rich. It's a solid book, but it's kind of there's certain parts of Napoleon Hill's information that's a little quirky. I like it, but some people don't, so you have to break into it. But these are 4 books to start your money library, to start your personal finance library. When you read books, you're sitting down and having a conversation, or at least hearing a monologue from the individual who wrote the book. Reading is great because these people could compile years, decades of wisdom into a 200-page book that you could read in a week. And it took a man a lifetime to gather that wisdom. And then you could apply it and change your life. Your brother, your friend, your dietitian, back again for another installment. Y'all thought I was playing. I ain't playing. Peace.